Welcome to Lost and Found, No More Secrets with DNA Angels. If you're new to the world of DNA Angels, we are a search angel nonprofit organization on a mission to bring closure and connection to individuals seeking to identify their biological parents via their ancestry DNA results. Whether they are NPE, meaning not parent expected, or non paternal event, donor conceived, adopted, or they just never knew who their biological parent is. Our goal is to provide guidance and support every step of the way. Join us as we embark on journeys of discovery, compassion, and the profound importance of knowing one's roots. My name is Heidi, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. As one of the team lead genetic genealogists at DNAngels, I've had the privilege of being part of incredible journeys of self-discovery and reunion. On today's episode, I'd like you to meet Cindy, my exceptional co-host who brings an incredible depth of experience to our team. As a search angel and executive assistant DNAngels, Cindy's dedication knows no bounds when it comes to helping individuals find their biological families. Her meticulous attention to detail ensures that no stone is left unturned in the search process, making her an invaluable resource in our mission. Cindy also happens to be my sister. Together, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives by reuniting families and uncovering the stories that connect us all. Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am so excited to
I know.
Today.
I know. So while Cindy was working, Christian, who is going to be our special guest today, while she was working his case, I happened to be over at her house a few times. And she was just nonstop talking about this case. And then once she solved it, I remember this, Cindy. I don't know if you remember me being there, but when she solved it, she kept refreshing this Facebook page. And I said, why are you like, what's going on? And she said, well, Christian sent his biological mom a Facebook friend request, and I'm looking to see if she's accepted it yet. So, Cindy, you're a little bit obsessed with it.
A little bit.
Tell me a little bit about the case and how it was for you working it.
This case, I'll just never forget. It's one of those that always stood out. First of all, Christian is just a sweet, kind young man. He's adopted, came to me to DNAngels, and I was assigned his case looking for both of his bio parents. And it was a bit challenging because on mom's side, I had figured out the what we call the most common ancestors, but there were 15 children at least. So having to sort through all those, and the second line was kind of weak, but working through it, and I just happened to go down the right line to make the connection where I saw grandma's line to this other line and knew that's where they came together. And I was just super excited. I don't
know about you, but for me, I know exactly where you're at when you're in that case. Oh, and you start getting the feeling that you're getting close.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you get
there, and then all of a sudden
you get this adrenaline rush because you know that the next click may be the click that connects those two.
Yes. And Christian's just such a sweet young man. He, we gave him the information as we always do, but he was so kind. He wanted to be sensitive to his mother's family and her, and he just kind of tiptoed into making the contact. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to try this or you don't want to try that? But it's up to them. We're here to support them but not push them.
Right. And I don't want to give too much of his story.
Right.
So one thing I want to talk about that's big to us now, it's big today or in the last week, but this show is going to air in September, so it may be old news in September. But all of the volunteers are super excited because we finally got to be able to use the shared CM tool that Ancestry DNA just released. And for us as genetic genealogists, it helps us so much to be able to accurately put people in the tree, because when you click on a DNA match, it's going to tell you how they are related and how many centimorgans they share with your other matches in your tree. Huge. I even want to go back to some of my on hold cases that's taking me a while to solve and see if that could possibly put in some fresh air, into the case.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I actually, a case I'm currently working on, we had one of those mystery matches, and it was a pretty high. It was like 464 centimorgans, but all they had were initials and nothing else. No tree, no location, no age, just initials. And those initials don't match any of the network lines that we have. And when that rolled out, since I started the case, it now tells me he is the nephew of one of these other matches that I do have matched. So I'm like, I know who he is.
It makes a difference. I haven't worked in, so at DNAngels, we have 6 DNA accounts because each account can only hold so many trees, and we have so many clients that we had to just keep opening up new accounts to be able to have a place for everyone to land. And only one of our accounts, well, I haven't checked the others today, but I know one of our accounts has it, and I hadn't worked a case in the last couple of days in this account. Well, I saw a new case come up on the wait list today on DNA one. I'm taking this case. It's a hard case. It's a low CM case, but I'm thinking that Laura, our producer, just mentioned that 3 accounts have it now. So I need to go and look at that. But we're all in the genetic genealogy world. We're really excited about having that new feature now. It's going to make a big difference. 23andMe has had it. When they got their breach, they took it off, but it's back now. So that is one advantage that I liked about 23andMe. Okay, so since we're both super excited about Christian's case, I want to give a little bit of introduction into his story, and then we will bring him on. How does that sound, Cindy?
Let's do it.
Christian's journey starts under the Arizona sun, where he was born and later welcomed into a loving family in Massachusetts at just 9 months old. Growing up in the Northeast with his adoptive family was pretty normal for him until in his 20s, a friend gifted him a 23andMe test that sparked his curiosity about his roots. The results gave him some insights into his ancestry, but it was the passing of his adoptive mother that really pushed him to dive deeper into his biological history. Teaming up with a friend of his who loved digging into family trees, Christian set out to find his birth parents. They hit a lot of dead ends, though, until he stumbled upon DNAngels through a quick Google search in February of 2023. Christian was accepted as a client, and in just a couple weeks, Cindy found both of his biological parents. When Christian reached out to his birth mom, Angel, it was nerve-wracking at first. She didn't respond right away. But then, on the eve of his birthday in January, he got the message he'd been waiting for. Angel wanted to hear from him. Since then, they've been talking every day, sharing stories, and getting to know each other. They've met up several times, starting with the neutral spot for their first meeting, then at Angel's place, and finally in Christian's hometown. It was a chance for Angel to see where he grew up and for them to build memories together. Meeting Angel also opened the door to more family connections. Christian has met his grandmother, half-sister, and even nieces and nephews. Trust me, you will want to stay tuned. Later in the show, a very special guest will be joining us. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, but Christian's journey reminds us that sometimes the search for where we come from can lead to unexpected joys and a deeper sense of belonging. Let's welcome Christian to the show.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Christian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so excited to hear your story.
Thank you for having me on today.
Let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your family structure and what it was like growing up for you.
Okay, so growing up back in Massachusetts, I had an older brother and a mom and a dad, and that was really it. Like, we had a really small, close-knit family. We were close to my family on my mom's side. So her mom and then her brother and then so basically my uncle and my aunt. and that was who we were closest with.
So did you always know that you were adopted? When were you
Yeah,
told?
so from a fairly young age, I knew I was different, obviously, because my parents and my brother were white and I was not. But my mom did disclose to me that I was adopted like pretty early on.
Do you remember how she told you that, how old you were? You don't remember? You just always knew?
Yeah, I don't remember I don't remember like the exact date when she told me.
Yeah.
It was just something that I knew.
And your brother is a biological child to your adopted parents.
That's correct.
Do you know the story of how you came to them?
So from what I know, I was so I have some paperwork from when I was in Arizona, which is where I was born. So I was in a foster care place for like a week. Mm-hmm. And then my dad was telling me that like the night before that they came to pick me up, they got a call on the phone saying like, hey, we have a child that you can adopt in Arizona. Do you want it? From the adoption agency. And they were like, yes. So they flew to Arizona that night. And then the next morning met me at the hospital and picked me up, and it was history from there.
How was it for you being adopted in a family where you looked differently from the rest of your family members? Is it something that came up often, or did it bother you?
No, it didn't really bother me at all. I felt like I was accepted as just a regular family member. That I wasn't treated any differently. And even with other people who we went around and who we interacted with, I never felt like I was put into some other category. I was just a family member. And so they introduced me as that.
That's amazing. So tell me about when or what prompted you to start looking for your biological family?
Well, I think as I was like getting closer to turning like 18, my parents had always sort of encouraged me to go find out more information about my biological family. They were always supportive of that. They didn't harbor any ill will or like say that, oh, we're going to lose you or anything like that. They were just like, please, like, if you need our help with anything, we will give it to you. So when I was 18, the thoughts started to like pop into my mind, like, oh, maybe I should do it. But I think, like you said in the introduction, it really was around when I turned 30, my mom passed away. And that was like the ultimate spark because I lost my mom, and
right.
All of a sudden I realized, oh, I have another mom out there somewhere. Like that would be cool to connect and, maybe form some sort of relationship or at least just find out that she is okay. Like I didn't know what was going to happen from it. I just wanted to like see if it was possible to find out information.
And I'm sure that you probably were always in the back of your mind, like wanting to know people that look like you. You know what I mean? Like see a picture and be like, oh, well, that's where I get my nose from, or my eyes, or I know that's something that adoptees always think about in the back of their mind.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I know I didn't look like anyone in my family, so figuring out what my roots were and figuring out where I came from, that was important to me.
So you take you started with the 23andMe test, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I was gifted it by a friend. I was doing some online gaming and they gifted it to me as like a birthday present. And they were like, here, try this out. And like, because I had told them I was adopted and they were like, here, I want to help you out. Like, try this out and see what information you can find. So I was like, oh, thank you. So I did the test, the 23andMe. I finally learned like what my roots were for the first time. So like what my history was.
Right. You learned your ethnic heritage, but it didn't give you any closer about your biological family because it's very overwhelming to the untrained eye what those DNA matches mean.
Yeah, I mean, there were DNA matches, and I was like second cousins, first cousins, third cousins. I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, that could be anyone. I don't know who these people are. So yeah, I was really no closer at that point in time.
So then what made you take an ancestry? Because I know you had to take an ancestry DNA test to become a client of ours. So what made you do that?
That was why, because I was
hoping to get closer.
Yeah, so I I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I really want to do this. Can I get one of these ancestry DNA tests? And he was like, yeah, like I'll buy it for you. And so did that, and then as soon as I processed it and done everything like that, that was when I reached out.
You reached out to DNAngels, right? Then.
Yeah,
I remember. I went back to read your room yesterday, and I remember I have a memory of you. Even though you had signed up with us, it was like 3 weeks before we really were able to start your case. What was the holdup? What was going on then? Did you get nervous about actually finding biological family? Did it become real?
Yeah, once I reached out, I did reach out initially and was accepted, and then there was a little bit of a break. Number one, I was finishing up school, but also I think I was a little bit afraid of doing the actual search, and I was getting a little bit of cold feet. So, so I needed to like hype myself up a little bit more, and I needed some time to be able to reach out and like finally get it underway.
So you were introduced to Cindy as your lead angel. Well, she's my sister, as you probably heard, and I know how comforting. I mean, she's my rock. So I'm sure talking to her probably helped you feel more comfortable and more at ease. And you know, we always tell our clients that we're helping that we do not do the reaching out to the biological family. So nothing's going to be done without you knowing ahead of time. So that had to make you feel a little bit more at ease.
Yeah, Cindy was amazing. She made me feel comfortable right away, straight off the bat with the search and everything. She gave me all the details behind what she was going to do and how the process was going to play out. So I felt comfortable with the entire process the entire time. So I really appreciate everything that she did for me.
So Cindy's getting close, and I'm sure she's in your client room, super excited, telling you, you know, Christian, I found your biological parents. What was going on in your mind when Cindy told you your case was solved?
Oh my God. A lot of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And just sort of, this is a surreal feeling. Like I never thought in a million years that I would know a name behind my biological mom or any of my biological family. Like I hadn't let myself think that it was possible to be able to reach out and find my actual family. So to hear that it was a real thing and that, you know, there was this person that I could reach out and contact, it was amazing. But it was also like mine.
And I know Cindy's really meticulous, so I know she found pictures and obituaries and all that. So when you first saw a picture of your birth mom and dad, what was going through your mind? Did you see any resemblance into them, or you're pointing to your nose?
The nose was very similar for me, and that was like the characteristic that I hung on to, like I think the most. And then some of the eyes as well, and when we smile, like our smiles look similar with the dimples, like. And so there were some features that I recognized within myself, even that I was like, oh, I could get that from my mom, or you know, from my birth mom.
Yeah.
And like her family. So.
Right. So the next step, Cindy's identified the parents. So the next step is reaching out. How nervous were you about that?
I feel like once I immediately like had a conversation with Cindy and like, what is the process for reaching out? Because I wanted to do it right away. Like I was already in this like flow state of let's go, let's do it.
Keep the momentum going.
Yeah, so keep the momentum going because we had already found them. So I was like, okay, let's just reach out and do it. Like, let's not hold back. Let's just see what happens. And so I think I was less nervous about sending the message that I was. I think about reaching out to DNAngels once we had found the information that we needed. I think I was less nervous about reaching out to my biological mom. And you know, I had crafted them. Well, I had Cindy send what DNAngels will send out or would like recommend sending out.
We have a script that we
have a little bit of a script. And I made some changes, and I added in a line right at the beginning that would make it super obvious. Like if it was my birth mom, that was only information that she would know. Because my name had changed from my birth name to my name now.
And you knew your birth name.
Yeah, and I knew my birth name.
Got you. And probably your birthday too. I was born
my birthday,
and
the place and everything like that.
So which avenue did you decide to reach out to her on, the first initial contact?
First contact was via Facebook Messenger.
Tell me how that went.
Well, it didn't. Nothing really happened. So I reached out and I didn't hear anything right off the bat. So I was like, okay, like that's totally fine. Like maybe she doesn't want to hear from me.
Well, the bad thing about Facebook Messenger can be great, but the bad thing about it is if you're not friends with that person, then it goes into, I call it the folder that messages go to die.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, a lot of people don't know, especially older people don't know about that message request folder that where the message gets sent. But like I said, if you're not Facebook friends, then they're not going to get a notification.
That's why I told him, send her a friend request, change your profile picture to a picture she would, maybe recognize the child in, and send her a Facebook friend request. And we're trying to cover all the bases. But he was also using an account that he wasn't active in either. So, there was just a lot of ifs, with that method.
Right.
Also, like, I didn't feel comfortable at the time just sending a friend request. Did I send a friend request, Cindy? Did I do that?
You did. You told me you did.
I don't remember if I did.
I had your page up and I kept looking. You had like 12, whatever the number is. I kept refreshing, waiting for one more friend. And you did get some new friends, but they weren't her.
Yeah, they were. So it's possible that I sent the friend request and sent the message at the same time. Yeah, I think I did. I do remember doing that at the same time. So I sent both, hoping that she would accept the friend request and then see the message pop up, but to no avail at the first message.
And that was the end of July, I believe.
Yeah, that was like the very end of July when I first sent that message.
Okay, so like I said in my introduction, you finally did hear from Angel. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was just sitting in my room. Months had passed since my first initial message. It was now January, the day before my birthday, and I'm sitting in my basement, playing on my computer just in the morning, and all of a sudden I hear a bzz, bzz, bzz on my phone, and I'm like, oh, what kind of message is this? So I check my phone, and I'm like, a message from the group chat. What is this? Like, okay, there must be something. And it happens to be a message from Cindy saying, your biological mom wants to contact you. And I was like, what? I literally ran upstairs because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, Dad, like I told my dad, ran up and told my dad, like, Dad, my biological mom reached out to DNAngels and wants to contact me. And he was like, go downstairs and do that right now. So,
I had goosebumps, y'all.
So how did Cindy, tell me how that worked? How did you get a message from her?
Well, so I believe, I know. So we have Ashley, we have a website, we have a chat on our website where,
that's right.
And so Ashley, who's an angel that monitors our chat website, she sent a message saying there was a mom trying to reach one of her clients. She got a Facebook message, but he didn't seem to be active and didn't know, and she wanted to, make contact with him, gave us a phone number. When she said, Christian, I'm like, that's mine.
I've been waiting.
He's mine. So that's when I messaged Christian immediately. I said, she wants to reach you. This is the phone number. Call her, So.
Okay, Christian. So you make the call. Tell me about that. I'd love to hear every single detail. Don't miss a single tidbit.
Okay, so yeah, I got her phone number and I made the call like right away. She picked up. Luckily, she picked up right away, and I think we chatted for 3 hours straight. That first call. So she shared her story, and I shared my story, going back and forth, just talking about what our lives had been and what we had been through in our lives. And she had asked me, like, was everything okay? was that like were your parents good to you? Like, how was your childhood? Like, tell me stories about your childhood. So I was able to share a lot of the experiences that I went through from growing up as a kid to all the sports that I played to going to school and getting an education, finding a job, everything like that. So she was.
Did you feel comfortable on that call, or was it?
Yeah, it was like right away.
At ease right away. You knew that you
right
were
away.
talking to your mom.
Yeah, right away. It was like we had known each other for as long as I had been alive.
Awesome.
It was just like an instant connection, and it was, it's odd that you find that, right, where you just can open up to the person on the other side of the phone or on the other side of a conversation. But in this moment, it was super instant, and it was just comfortable for both of us, I think. I don't want to speak for her, but this is from my interpretation. I felt like she was comfortable sharing the things that in her life that she had kept inside of her and wanted to share as well. So it was an amazing experience, that first phone call.
So I want to go back to mom, but tell me about dad's side, because Cindy had also found your dad's side, and we hadn't touched on that. Is dad still alive? Have you tried to make contact with him?
So he is still alive, and I did get his information, but I reached out to my mom first, and I don't know what prompted me to do this, but I feel like in the end I made the right decision, because in our conversation she shared that my biological dad didn't have knowledge that I was like actually in existence. So he didn't know that he had a baby with my mom. And so in reaching out to her, I found that information out, and it made me, I think, more hesitant to reach out to him because of the fact that he didn't know about any of it. Like, he was never informed that she was pregnant or anything like that. So,
and to this day, you still haven't reached out to him?
Yeah, I still have not reached out to him yet.
Do you think you will?
I'm not sure, because just like when I found my birth mom and had that little bit of hesitation about reaching out, I think it's still, I want to respect his life, and I want to respect like the fact that he has a family, he has kids, he has all these relatives and everything like that, and I don't want to be a disruption in that. That's just how I feel personally. I don't want to,
Well, this is your journey. I mean, you're allowed to do whatever you like. It's not our journey. We can't tell you what to do. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I've had that emphasized as well by my birth mom in our conversations. She asked if I wanted to reach out, because she would be willing to reach out as well and be like, "This is the news. Like, hey, we had a kid at one point, like, and he's alive and would like to talk to you. Are you open to that?" But I think just out of respect for other people's lives, like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I don't think I'm ready to do that.
Well, if you, like I said, this is your journey, but if you do decide to reach out to him, well, you have your mom to help, but if you don't want to get her involved, we also are able to do that for you. We have people that are great at picking up the phone and making those tough phone calls. We have this one girl that got the gift of gab. I don't have it. She does. So just keep that in mind, if you don't want to get Angel involved for that. So you have the 3-hour-long phone conversation with mom. What's your next step? Do y'all plan on meeting up?
Yeah. So in that conversation, it wasn't that one, but after that, we started texting back and forth and messaging back and forth every single day. And after, I think, about a month, we decided, like, hey, I think we're both comfortable with each other. We want to meet up in person. And so, we both agreed, and we were like, let's meet in a neutral location first. So we met in a neutral location for 3 days. I think it was 3 days that we spent with each other, and it was like, I don't really know how to describe it other than it's like meeting an old friend for a trip. Can
can you tell me about that first meeting when you first laid eyes on each other? What was where were you at? Tell me about what that was like when you first actually saw and felt your mom for the very first time.
So we were in the airport. I had flown in a day earlier, and I met her at the baggage claim in the airport. She got off her flight, and she had been talking about her meeting her son on the airplane to the person next to her the entire flight, the entire flight over. And so after that, like when she first laid eyes on me, she like dropped her bags and just ran over to me, and we just embraced. It was probably like at least 10 minutes that we just sat there.
Was there a lot of tears?
A lot of tears from her. I think I was more, when people cry around me, I go into like comfort mode. So I don't think I cried a lot, but it was a lot of tight embrace and just making sure that she was okay. But yeah, a lot of tears.
If I would have been the person sitting next to mom in the airplane, I would have had my phone out.
Yeah. Like, let me record this for you. But also, geographically speaking, y'all are really distant, right? Because you're over in Massachusetts and she's over in California. So
yeah, we were
almost as far apart as you can get in the US.
Really on opposite sides of the country. So yeah, it wasn't exactly easy to pick for us to meet like on a normal like, hey, I love to just drive over.
It takes a lot of effort for y'all to see each other.
Yes, definitely.
So you meet up a few more times, and so she's able to go to see you, and you were able to show her around your hometown, probably, you know, where you went to school, and get her.
Yeah, I was finishing up one of my degrees, and she came for the graduation, and I was able to show her around, and then take her to a baseball game, and we got like special treatment for that baseball game. So I was able to take her like to the field. We sat in really good seats. She got to run the bases like on the field.
Did she get to meet? Because your adopted dad is still alive. Were they able to meet?
Yeah, so they met. They met at my graduation, and they talked the entire time, just sharing stories. And then we went out to dinner, and the conversations just continued after that. So yeah, lots of catching up, lots of just love. I found that in my life, it's all coming together. Like within the past 6 months, it's been amazing. Like to see the amount of love that's poured into my own life.
A whole new chapter for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have any children, Christian? Does she have grandkids with you?
No, I don't.
You don't. Well, I had mentioned in the beginning of the show that we have a special guest coming on, and I'm not going to give it away yet, but give us just a minute. We're going to add that special guest in, and we will be back.
At DNAngels, we believe every person has the right to know their biological roots. As a nonprofit, we help adoptees, donor-conceived individuals, and those with DNA surprises identify their birth parents. If you have taken a test with Ancestry, we can help. Support the right to know. Donate today at DNAangels.org, because a person has more right to their sense of identity than someone else to their secrets. DNAangels, identifying families one DNA strand at a time.
So welcome back. You are looking at Angel. Angel is Christian's beautiful, beautiful mom. Tell me, Angel, what was it like when you read that got that message that Christian was looking for you?
It was, gosh, the word, I guess it eludes me now, but it was, surprisingly, I was full of joy. And I thought my whole, I have had moments where you like Christian had mentioned, you don't allow yourself the thought of something that is just not, you just don't ever see it happen. So you don't ever daydream on, I didn't allow myself to ever daydream on a day that I just never thought would exist. And so you tell yourself things all the time, like, oh, everything's fine. And, it's all going to be great. And it surely must be, because why would anybody come looking for you? Because they're fulfilled. And so when that day happened And it actually, for me, it was New Year's Eve, the first time I saw it on January, or New Year's Day, January 1st. I was so happy. I was shockingly so happy. And then instantly, within 5 seconds, I was happy. I was afraid. I was nervous. I was
all the emotions.
Yeah, all of those things. Oh, you know how a lot of things. Yes, yeah. I was surprisingly so happy, and that shocked me. That shocked me that I would be so incredibly overjoyed by something that I had told myself forever would never come.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the circumstances that you felt like you were forced into a position where you had to relinquish Christian. I know that had been the hardest thing you've ever done.
Yes. So I started very young. I say that I was raised by wolves, and so I had been on my own since I was very, very young, and it was just a decision that somebody helped me make because I had given birth and I had tried, and I was just not going to be successful, and I didn't want him to have that same sort of life, and I just didn't see it happening, you know, any other way. I knew it would only happen the same way that I was experiencing and seeing life, and I just didn't want that for him. He was the happiest baby. He never woke me up. He never cried. I could wake up at 7, he'd be laying there just smiling. I could wake up at 10, he would be laying there smiling. He was just the happiest boy. And it was just, I just didn't want him to have that.
Right. Well, that speaks a testimony of how much that you loved him, because you did the most unselfish act that anybody in the world could possibly do, to love him so much to let him go.
I do believe I made the best adult decision as a child. I had just turned 18 like a week later. I was literally 17 years old. You know, a week later I turned 18.
So over the years on his birthday, did you think about him, or is it something that you just because we have Cindy and I have a family member that relinquished a daughter for adoption, and for her coping mechanism was, it was just so hard for her to deal with that she kind of blocked it out. That was the way that she coped with it. So is that also what you experienced, or?
Very much. Mine was more like a decade, you know, like a decade at a time, or I was very private about my situation. And so if I ever let somebody into my life that I was going to allow to like truly know me, then I would say that. And so that would bring up the conversation. You know, a couple of times, and I'd really say like about a decade or so within. And with the initial adoption, his mom and dad had given me a binder of information. And so like a friend of mine that held on to that I could trust, you know, like she would call me like every decade, hey, do you want me to send this to you now? Are you ready to, you know, to look back through this? And I was like, no, you keep a hold of that. And yeah, but mine was definitely more, you know, every decade or so, or when I would share it with somebody and I'd be, oh, no, he's great. I feel like I knew what peace was before I knew what peace was. I just felt like it was, I had done the right thing for him. I really, you know, told myself that.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we asked Christian about y'all's first phone call and everything. Y'all talked for 3 hours.
Yes.
Tell me your perspective of that phone call.
So he sent the message on Messenger, and we were not friends. And so it went to the spam folder. And I never go in there, but I had been looking on Marketplace and kind of searching for some things. And like I said, it was New Year, so we were all at home all day watching parades and whatnot. And so I was kind of just sitting there. I'll go over here and start deleting these things so that I can make this little red light go away, because it had been there for months and I could not make this light go away. And yes, I'm older. I didn't know like there was a separate. So I go over here and I'm just clicking stuff and I'm swipe, delete, literally 20 swipe, delete. And I swipe deleted his message and it opened up. All like literally it was swipe, delete. And I swipe deleted and it opened. And it said exactly what he said. Hi, my name is Christian and you might know me as this and my birth date is this and it was, and then it was on and I'm crying and I have my husband sitting here and grandkids and it's 7 o'clock at night and I'm being flooded with emotion and I'm just reading it over and over and over and over. And about an hour later, my daughter and my grandkids leave and I just stay on it and I'm just reading. And so we say goodbye and we usually do a little cleanup after everybody leaves. And I'm like, I tell my husband, let's sit down for a minute. I have to say something. And I said, hey, Christian, because I knew him as Christian. Christian reached out to me and we read it and all we could immediately, it was so thoughtful, so love. You could just feel him. And it was so comforting. And so everything, all I did was just comment, yes, period. And my husband's like, what do you mean, yes? And I'm like, yes to all of it. Yes, there was, and I looked at his Facebook profile and clearly he was not a Facebook user. And I use it generally for fun, but like I don't go into Messenger. I don't get notifications or anything like that. It's only if I choose to go into the areas. And so I don't think I slept because I answered and I was waiting, looking, hey, did he answer? And by the morning, when there was no response, I get up, I go to work and I say, I'm going to reach out. What do I do? And so I say, okay, there's a link at the bottom of the DNAngels. I'll reach out to them and say, hey, here I am. And within 10 minutes, Christian and I were talking. I clocked into work and I said, call me back in 10. I am going home. And I went home and we spent the next, 3-4 hours on the phone, which that day. So the next day was January 2nd. And that's when we started talking. And then, his birthday was the next day.
I know Christian has half siblings. Were the half siblings aware of Christian's existence?
Yes.
So they knew?
Yes.
I think that's
the husband knew and
awesome.
My kids, my daughter knew.
I think that's one barrier. So when we solve adoption cases, there's the people that are in Christian's position are so nervous about reaching out. And one of the stumbling blocks I found is that some of the moms didn't tell their children that they even had relinquished a child for adoption. So there's so many different factors. But since I have you, Angel, what advice would you give to people that are in Christian's position and they want to reach out to their bio mom? Do you think that Christian did the right thing by going through Facebook Messenger? How would you have reacted if he picked up the phone and called you on the spot and said, hey, it's Christian? If he made it, like a cold call out of the blue, how would you have responded to that?
I think I might have, I can't say what I don't know. I probably, I might have been afraid, right? Because that had been my constant feeling. And so that might have been the initial, maybe a letter. I appreciate very much how he did it. It actually, it made me sad for him that it had sat there and that for 6 months that he actually thought or could have thought that my answer was no. I had just not seen it. Like I literally, I was yes. And so I can say that I appreciate how it was done, but honestly, yes, I've had the thought of, wow, if I never saw that, or if I swipe deleted, how it would have been, how else would you have found me? And he had said, well, maybe when my life had slowed down and he could have handled a conversation with, maybe that had been a year or two of the feeling of rejection, and then tried to push past that to hear me verbally say no, that he was prepared to have that part, of the emotion in his life. And so I think I just have to say, I just believe our timing was right. And for me, it was so incredibly thoughtful, and you felt that in every part of how our reunion has come about. From, he knew my name and my address and my phone number, because I had asked, well, gosh, that was 6 months. Why didn't you just reach out? And he was very much, well, I was concerned for, how it would look on your side. And I have to say, well, you know what, you're right. No matter that everybody knew, it still could have been, a completely, but I guess generally a letter is kind of a nice way to go, because it still, passes the, you can pick it up, you can drop it, you can stop, you can go at your own speed.
Process.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is huge, right? He, from the adoptee to the parent side, it's all, it's however I processed it to survive, and how he processed it to survive. And so I think a lot of it can be general, but it's pretty specific to the cases. I'm
assuming, Christian, you've met your half siblings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you have anything in common with them? What has that been like?
It's been, I think, a learning process. I think for both of us. Initially, like, we don't text the way that Angel and I text all the time. I don't text with my half sister like nearly as much, but I think that over the past couple of visits, we've been able to get more comfortable. We started to spend more time, have more conversations, just us two, and be able to go off and do that. And I think we're finding more comfort and more in common with each other, and about learning it with each other. So,
right. And you and your mom talk, text every day, and it's like, a relationship that's really building off of love and trust, it sounds like.
Yes, very much. So I also, part of my side of the story is I reached out to the DNAngels, and you guys helped me. Like, I was like breathing for air through the first couple of days on how, this is going to open a part of my life that I never talked about. And so I had no idea that I needed this piece of my puzzle and my life to complete me. And that's what he did. And I didn't know that I needed that from him.
Right.
And it was, I'm a complete and whole person now. There's nothing out there. And, but I reached out to you guys, and I said, hey, I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody who specifically deals in, hey, there's been 30 plus years of, no contact, of, I was a child, all of these things happen, and I want this to go right. I want nothing, no, as if there's books, tell me about them, let me read them. I want this to be right. I don't want to say something that what I say is not heard the right way, or hear what's not being said. I wanted this to be, as this is what you expect when you're expecting. And so I wanted that. I wanted
And while you were worried about all that, all I was just like, is like, cool. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Constantly reassuring me that, hey, you know what? I had, my life is good. I want to know you, and I just want to know, what you're about, and let's be friends, and all of these different things. And immediately, there definitely is a bond. Like, we both eat popcorn. Like, it's like, like it's water. And so, and we're both runners, and there's a lot of like some of those similar things that, but I think having just somebody to talk to for a few weeks about, just the initial hey, you know, I did this and I felt good and I felt bad and all of those emotions to come out and just purge them, so that the real love can come through.
Tell me, so you reached out to DNAngels to get guidance on how to develop a relationship with Christian. How did we help you do that? What advice were you given?
You guys gave me like 3 numbers to some really big organizations that helped me find a therapist and or group with other women.
Right to know.
With other women who were in similar situations. So there were some group therapy and then a personal, some numbers that I had to go find one that fit into my insurance plan. But there were, I think I actually got 3 and with somebody for like hours and a mentor and people to talk to that I could talk to mothers, birth mothers, therapists, mentors, and birth mother groups.
I'm so glad we were able to help you with that, because it's so important. And, you know, you only got one chance to make a good first impression, right?
I really believed, I just wanted it to be. I was so happy. I just wanted it to be so. Yeah. And you guys were so wonderful. And what was also interesting is like a month into our reunion, I have been going on the podcast and listening and reading books and going into some of these therapy groups. And one of them, you guys had done a whole podcast on how you search and you do these. And so I actually met, like within a month in, I met you guys before this conversation and say, hey, I'm actually a birth mom that you helped. And so
I remember I was on there and you and I were chatting on the side. You were telling me you were meeting the next weekend, and I was like, I'm so excited. It was so cool. You're the first birth mom, you know, that I've been able to actually have communication with and, you know, an exchange. So it's been very rewarding for me as well.
Yeah, we've been able to share, you know, our journey as well with Cindy. So like we share pictures of us traveling together and everything like that. So
we love getting those pictures. We love getting updates.
Yeah, what you guys do, you guys are angels. It was
truly.
Yes.
You live up to the name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's remarkable, all of you know, what is there now. And so I appreciate his right to know where he came from and what he wanted to know about his heritage and all of those different things, and just to know, you know, a desire to know who I am. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I'm really proud of, there's a lot of things that I'm proud about DNAngels. Of course, I wouldn't be here right now, but one of the things that I'm really, really proud of is, and that sets us apart from the different search angel organizations, is we are not just here to search and solve. So Cindy wasn't going to say, okay, Christian, your mom is Angel and your dad is Joe. You know, here you go, bye. You know, as you can see, as your story unfolded, we're there for that solving the case is just half the battle, right? The next battle is we actually hold our clients' hands in the best way to reach out. And, you know, we solve a lot of cases, so we have a lot of experience under our belt. We know what works and what doesn't work. And so, and then with you, Angel, being able to get you connected with the right to know people and a therapist, it really made a big difference in having the best outcome for you and Christian.
It did. It really did. And I did find a very good therapist in the neighborhood who deals specifically with adoptees, birth mothers, the non-parental. You know, there is a whole industry now that is, you know, is out there.
The National Association of Adoptees and Parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we even have an extra special surprise. And as genetic genealogists, when we solve a case, we always are just praying, when I find this parent, please let them be alive. Please let them be alive. And when they're alive, we're so happy.
Yeah.
Extra bonus. When we find an alive grandparent, and we do have a Nana with us. Nana, will you want to come in and say hello?
You can say it too.
Okay, it's good. You get your minute.
Hello. Hi, Nana. Look at y'all. A picture of you with the framer. Nana,
don't we all look the same?
Yes. Nana, tell me, what has it been like to have Christian in your life?
Oh, I knew this day was going to happen.
Oh,
You just know it. You know, you're a mother, you're a grandmother. You just know. I used to tell my daughter all the time, Angel, what if one day he comes knocking on your door? You better be ready because it's going to happen.
You knew.
She didn't say nothing. No, we went on. I would always remind her, Angel, are you going to be ready when that day comes? Because it will. And here we are.
look at that. I love your smiles. You guys have beautiful smiles.
I can see just the real that y'all are very comfortable. I see just a genuine comfortableness about
Christian looks so at Christian's age right now. He is the spitting image of my mom when she was his age. What his age is now, when she was that age. So immediately when I saw him, I could see my mother. Yeah, and the lady on the airplane, she got to the luggage before me and took pictures and videos of us.
Awesome. You'll have to send that video to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very, very wonderful. It was great. And I'll say, you know, for me on that side of that first meeting on the airplane, because we are on opposite coasts, it was a 5.5 hour flight. I think that's the place where I had my first emotional breakdown, and I was crying, ugly crying, and that's how I got to talking to the lady next to me. And I'm like, you know, I am really in a good mood. I'm very, very happy, and I don't understand what's happening, but I ugly cried the whole time. And so I got onto one of my groups, and the moms were like, you know, it's like a glacier. All of these emotions, and they're frozen, right? And it's just starting to thaw. And I wasn't scared. I had no emotion. I was just, and they said similar to when it could be looked at like when you relinquished that day, and you're only now allowing yourself the emotions of all of that. And so that happened that day. And from here on out, you know, here's my son.
I love that.
We eat dinner together, Zooming on, you know, with my husband, and we have dinner Zooming from other sides, and talking. And
Nana, are you cooking special meals for your Christian?
I made him some homemade tortillas. Stop eating.
So you might have to go for some extra runs.
Oh yeah, I do. They have a.
He does.
They have a running right here. I have a treadmill right off the kitchen, so I've been doing it every day before meals and after meals.
Are you teaching him how to cook, Nana? Are you teaching him your recipes? Or are you?
Well, you know what? My daughter cooks very, very, very delicious. Of course, she learned from me, but still. But I only make them tortillas when I come. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm here, and you know, Angel does the rest.
She says she won't teach me the ancestry secrets until I go to Arizona.
Yeah, he had to come to Arizona. He had to come to my home, and you know, he still has lots of family to meet on my side. Lots of family to meet. So
that's right, because Nana, you are in Arizona, right?
I am. I live in Arizona.
So y'all are in 3 different states. The fact that we have all of you guys together right now is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really important for me when Christian, now that I can get him out here, that he gets to know he doesn't have much time. So when he's come out the last couple of times to the house, we make sure mom comes out a few times so that he can get to know her, because she's an old lady.
Yeah.
I see some feist in her though.
Oh yeah.
I can have
They're going to do an amusement park tomorrow, and she rides. I'm not going. They do. She's on the rides.
I ride on rides.
I love
them. They like me, you know.
So she's got some feist in her. Yeah. We're all building some really good memories together now.
This is amazing.
And I have the utmost love. There's rewards in heaven for all of you there at DNAngels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much.
Well, your story is the reason why we do what we do. You know, we're passionate about it, and you're just seeing your faces together is our reward. That's all we want, you know. So
with Dad too, we went to graduation, and we met before graduation, so that day was his. That wasn't the day we met, and then that day I met his dad, and we talked. the whole time. And he was telling us just stories of Christian, and just they did good. We did good. We were a good team. We were a good team. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap this up because we are out of time, but I just want to extend my, it's so personal and raw to share your story with us. And it takes a lot of bravery, and you've put a huge smile on my face today.
Well, thank you guys for the wonderful work that you guys do. And I hope that you can continue to keep doing more families like this, because it's such a blessing. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right. Thank y'all for coming. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you.
Let's post it. I want to see the video.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you got that case and that you were able to have them on the show. What an amazing story.
I know. I mean, he's always, I don't know, because he's a young man, you know, you don't get too many of them.
Well, you have a son his age too. So
I do have a son his age, and you know, he just was so respectful and considerate, and you know, I just couldn't help but love him. You know, he was just like the client that everybody wants, you know.
Right. And something I want our viewers to understand is we really get invested in these stories. I mean, when we first get a case, it's a puzzle, and it's that very, you know, first puzzle, and then you're just building and building and building, and you're getting to learn the families, and we're getting to see all the vital records, and you know, the grandpa was in the middle, you know, it's just, we become invested in a part of the story.
Yeah.
So being able to hear how it plays out is very rewarding for us.
Yeah, very, very warm. Just warms my heart. And every time he sends me a picture of them together, just like they got the beautiful smiles, and you could just, they're like beaming, you know, they're just like glowing, and it just makes you so happy just to see that.
Well, we're not going to have the obituary today because we got so involved in the story, but we'll get it next time.
Not a problem.
Okay. All right, sis. I'm glad that you agreed to be my co-host too. I always enjoy seeing your beautiful
face. I was glad to join you.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.